Now on CBC Vancouver News. Dozens of pre-sale buyers want out of their contracts from a troubled Burnaby condo tower. We'll take you inside their court fight. Plus,
I feel like British Columbia is throwing the ball up and it's giving the federal government a chance to take that alley-oop and dunk it.
A landmark deal for liquefied natural gas in BC. CBC News learns Canada and Germany are set to sign an energy agreement amid a worldwide crisis. And
welcome. This is our one-bedroom, one-bath unit at Sanok.
a look inside the massive Squamish housing project on the edge of downtown Vancouver as people prepare to move in.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Hello, I'm Dan Burritt. Thanks for joining us. Dozens of people who bought pre-sale units at a financially troubled Burnaby condo tower are fighting to get out of their contracts. Buyers at the Eclipse claim the developer breached BC's real estate marketing laws. Jason Proctor has more on the price of pre-sales in a soft market.
The Eclipse condo project is one of many new towers in the Brentwood neighborhood of Burnaby. It was forced into creditor protection in January 2025, part of a string of insolvencies related to developer-thinned properties in what was then the start of a downturn in the Lower Mainland condo market that actually continues to this day. The building was 95% complete at the time. It's substantially finished now, but a group of more than 36 pre-sale buyers are arguing that they shouldn't have to take possession of their units. In BC Supreme Court documents, they say they were misled by the developer. They cite a $12 million tax bill, the suspension of building permits and other issues, all of which they say they learned about through the insolvency process after they bought their pre-sale units. Knowing any of these facts, I would view the developer as not responsible, claims one buyer. I regret my decision, says another. In a response, the monitor overseeing the creditor protection process says the pre-sale purchasers are just trying to get out of what turned out to be a bad deal for them. The court documents say the units would never fetch the same price in today's slumping condo market, and that if the court challenge succeeds, marketing them would be, at best, challenging. The pre-sale purchasers say the developer breached BC's Real Estate Development Marketing Act, which says material facts about developments need to be disclosed immediately. The case pits provincial consumer protection legislation against federal laws designed to protect creditors. In this case, a mortgage company owed $225 million. So on the one side, you have condo owners who say they were misled. On the other side, creditors who are just trying to get back their money. Even if the pre-sale purchasers lose their case, the court-appointed monitor says they'll still get what they bargained for, which is as a condo at the Eclipse. Jason Proctor, CBC News, Vancouver.
CBC News has confirmed a German company has signed a large-scale agreement for liquefied natural gas from the planned Silicium's export terminal on BC's north coast. Sources tell CBC News the deal is with German company SEFE, short for Securing Energy for Europe. It comes as Silicium's backers have been working to finalize contracts with purchasers before making a final investment decision this year. The project is being developed in partnership with the Nisga'a Nation and several other firms. Premier David Eby says a deal with Germany is good news for BC.
This announcement that the federal government will be sharing more about is about how we can work together to deepen those trading relationships around the world, in this case with Germany. We look forward to celebrating the formal announcement of this with the Nisga'a, with the federal government. It's an example of the work we're doing together, and we're super proud of it.
The federal announcement is expected on Wednesday. Natural gas prices have spiked in Europe since the U.S.-Israel war on Iran. Analysts say Canada could play a larger role as a supplier. BC's education minister is under fire over her ministry's handling of the court case involving the Greater Victoria School Board. The province fired the trustees last year, but they've now been reinstated after text messages were revealed. Jana Bailon has more on the fallout.
Ultimately, my job is to take this away and understand what happened, and that's what I'm going to do.
BC's education minister insisted her staff made an inadvertent error when they failed to disclose court-requested documents surrounding the firing of the Greater Victoria School Board. The opposition isn't buying it.
Either you knew beforehand this inadvertent error and tried to withhold these documents, or you didn't know, and if so, then are you competent to oversee BC's education system? Which is it?
The province fired all 9 trustees last January after the board scrapped a plan to allow police liaison officers in schools. But text messages shared in court on Monday suggest senior education ministry staff had been in contact with Victoria Deputy Police Chief Mike Brown just before the trustees were dismissed. Victoria Police says Brown retired on Monday. In a statement, Chief Fiona Wilson says Brown expressed his intention to retire 2 years ago, then agreed to stay for 1 more year until yesterday. Any suggestion that it is connected to recent events is inaccurate. Wilson adds the issue will be referred to BC's Police Complaint Commissioner. The province says the reinstated trustees will receive back pay and have their legal costs covered. One political commentator says it's important to stay focused on the issue of police in schools.
This is a great policy debate that's well worth having, and that should not be short-circuited by or preempted by these questions of incompetence and kind of bad communication from the ministry and with police.
Black says parents across the province will decide on the issue when they elect a new school board in the October municipal elections. John Obelon, CBC News, Victoria.
Family and friends of Bailey McCourt and Lauren Gover, 2 women killed in suspected cases of intimate partner violence in BC, were at the legislature continuing to push for tougher protection orders against people accused of IPV.
My original letter that got hand-delivered to Mark Carney included stuff like GPS monitoring with geofencing with real-time alerts to victims. One of the biggest issues that I have is these protection orders. Are we expecting a woman to stand there and try and paper cut the individual? Because that's all it is. It's a piece of paper and there's no protection.
Nearly a year ago, Bailey McCourt was killed in Kelowna. Her estranged husband, James Plover, now charged with murder, was out on bail at the time. In April, the House of Commons passed Bailey's law, toughening up federal rules. The BC Conservatives say they're urging the Senate to quickly pass the bill and are calling on the province to table a plan which outlines steps being taken to prevent domestic violence here. The province's police watchdog has been called in after officers in Surrey shot a man on Monday. The Independent Investigations Office says police were responding to a call about a man trying to break into a home on South Park Crescent in South Newton. Investigators say the man confronted police before an officer shot him. BC Emergency Health Services says he was taken to hospital in serious condition. Anyone who saw the shooting or has more information is asked to contact the IIO. Well, the cranes are down, and the first tower of the Sanok development on the south side of Vancouver's Burrard Bridge is just about ready for move-in. Michelle Gomez takes us inside the massive Squamish Nation housing project.
Sanok. It's a 6,000-unit development by the Squamish Nation flanking the Burrard Bridge. Tenants are set to move in this summer to the first tower. Today we're here on the roof and we're getting a sneak peek.
Welcome. This is our 1-bedroom, 1-bath unit at Sanok.
The Squamish Nation began building 4 years ago. It followed a decades-long court battle that saw the land returned back to the nation in 2003. Centuries ago, Sanok was a plentiful village that some Squamish families called home. Jacob Lewis's ancestors were among them.
Be able to come back here and revitalize the life in the village and bring back our people and the language and the culture is very, very special.
The going price for a studio like the one I'm in now starts at $1,600. The units range from studios all the way to 4 bedrooms. 20% of the units will be below market housing. Lewis says priority will go to Squamish and Indigenous tenants. Eventually, everyone will get a chance to apply.
Through the balcony, if you look outside across to the next tower, you get the nice view of a trigon, Coast Salish design.
Bringing up the life of the salmon.
The building's elevator features artwork from this Squamish artist.
Being able to share like our culture, our stories through like visualization, just getting people interested in more of the culture.
Phase 1 includes 3 towers, but there's more to come. The entire project, which will be 11 towers, is expected to be complete by 2033. Michelle Gomez, CBC News, Vancouver.
Some people in Comox are dealing with a very smelly, very inconvenient problem. The regional district there has told people in that community not to flush their toilets because of an emergency failure at a wastewater pump station. Take a look. It happened around 9:30 in the morning near the Comox Valley Marina. The district's head engineer says a temporary pipe being used while the pump station was being upgraded experienced a major failure. The district says there's no impact to drinking water, though. Meteorologist Wesla English is here with a first glance at the BC-wide weather, kind of the full buffet.
Yes, we had a bit of everything today, Dan. Started off the day with the showers this morning, and they were pretty stubborn. They didn't want to go away. They were, I expected them to fizzle out a little bit earlier, but no, it took at least a good half of the day for those showers to fizzle out, and then we started to see the breaks in the clouds. Let's take a look at the almanac to start. Got up to about 17 degrees for a high today at the International Airport, and sunrise today at 5:17. We are still getting about 2 minutes of daylight every day at this time of year, Dan. We will have less of a buffet tomorrow. We'll talk about that coming up.
I knew the days felt different. Thanks, Wesla.
You're welcome.
To another big project in town now. After more than a decade, the Oak Ridge Park Shopping Mall will reopen its doors to the public on Thursday, part of a phased opening of a massive redevelopment. As Mira Baines shows us, analysts say it could be the last of its kind.
Just days away from reopening, Vancouver's largest and most ambitious mega mall project is set to change the city's retail landscape. Oak Ridge Park is debuting as heavy construction continues on residential towers surrounding the shopping center and transit station.
We thank our neighbors for their patience as the scale of the project certainly has been somewhat disruptive, I'm sure, but with the amenities we're bringing, I'm hoping it'll be worthwhile.
The shopping center opens May 28th. Construction started more than 6 years ago.
Probably when I was in grade 2. I'm in grade 8 now.
We don't have much to do at lunch, so I think it's a pretty good addition to.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I used to go here with my mom all the time, so it's gonna be good to have it reopen.
Located on the west side of Vancouver, it's a high-stakes project covering about 8 city blocks with an estimated cost of $6.5 billion. Premium luxury tenants include Louis Vuitton, Versace, and Dior. But success is not guaranteed.
I don't know if Vancouver has the base right now in this current economic climate. There are wealthy people for sure in Vancouver, and they're going to be interested in this. Are there enough of them to sustain the traffic on an every season basis?
The project, featuring 14 towers, has been facing challenges, delays, and more than $600,000 in WorkSafe fines. In 2024, a worker, Yuridia Flores, was killed when a crane's load fell. In 2 separate incidents that same year, scaffolding and pipe also fell from above. Developer Westbank is building over 3,300 new residential units as part of the project, at a time when condo values in Vancouver's real estate market are sinking and construction costs are increasing. Some experts say there has been a major shift in the economy since the shopping center was first conceptualized.
People are struggling and probably spending a little bit less, whether it's on luxury goods or just everyday goods. I think when you look at a project of this scale and this level, I think you got to think past to 2026 and 2027.
One of the biggest attractions is expected to be Time Out Market, a food court featuring the best of local chefs. Initially, the entire project was expected to be finished in 2025, now estimated to be 2029. Mira Baines, CBC News, Vancouver.
Western Premier's meeting has wrapped up with some unity, but still plenty of questions and anger about Alberta's plan to vote on its future in Canada. That story is next.
I'm Stephen Quinn, and I love living here in Vancouver, BC. It's a city with world-renowned beauty, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. In our new daily podcast, This is Vancouver, we're exploring the diverse range of issues and stories in this city, the good, the bad, and everything in between, as told by the people who live it every day. Don't miss This Is Vancouver, available wherever you get your podcasts, and I'll talk to you soon.
Alberta's separatism once again took center stage at the Western Premiers Conference. The day began with a show of unity, but as Julia Wong shows us, it ended with some tense exchanges.
As Western Premiers met Tuesday, a show of support for Canada's World Cup team. National unity clearly on the minds of those here.
Tell Premier Smith he looks great in the Team Canada jersey.
But there are cracks. That unity under pressure as the question of Alberta separatism looms over the annual meeting. Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew publicly sparring with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith over treaty rights. This after an Alberta justice quashed a pro-separatism petition because the province failed to consult with First Nations.
The issue, I think, in the court is whether that duty to consult should apply to citizen-initiated petitions. And that's where I think that the court erred in judgment.
I think we know that is not correct, a lot of what you just said there, Premier Smith. It is not up to the petition gatherers to fulfill the duty to consult. It is up to you as the Alberta government to fulfill the duty to consult.
The Manitoba Premier making a plea.
Now is the time to work together. Why don't we hold off on this referendum talk for a year or two and see if we get these pipelines under construction.
That stress over separation.
I remain incredibly anxious, frankly, about this.
Also spilling over into talk of a proposed pipeline to the West Coast.
I disagree profoundly with Premier Smith's referendum. I think it is a huge mistake. And Premier Smith disagrees with me profoundly about issues related to a pipeline to the North Coast and the North Coast tanker ban. That's okay. We can disagree with each other.
When things have changed, we have to acknowledge it. It doesn't mean that people still don't have hurt feelings and frustration at the economic harm and pain that has been caused for the past 10 years. But we can undo a lot of that by making sure that we're working constructively together.
Julia Wong reporting. CBC News has learned Liberal MP Stephen Guilbeault is resigning. The Montreal MP and former Environment Minister is expected to share that news with colleagues at the Liberal caucus meeting on Wednesday. The former environmental activist had already resigned from cabinet last year after Ottawa and Alberta signed an agreement on a path forward for a new pipeline to the BC coast. A private member's bill to mandate dash cams on all commercial vehicles traveling in BC on BC highways has passed unanimously in the BC legislature. The opposition member's bill was started with families in the Kamloops North Thompson riding who say they have buried loved ones after preventable crashes. Those involved say the cameras will hold drivers accountable and ensure when a crash does occur, evidence isn't lost or disputed. The BC Trucking Association endorsed the bill, saying about 75% of crashes involving a commercial vehicle are not the fault of the driver. The bill will come into force 6 months after it receives royal assent. Vancouver Mayor Ken Sim met with Prime Minister Carney in Ottawa recently. On the agenda, affordable housing, the city's bid to be home to Canada's new Defence, Security and Resilience Bank, and Vancouver's role in hosting the FIFA Men's World Cup. Sim says the city is ready and praised the local organizing community.
I would say that we have the best organizing committee out of the 16 cities that are hosting. FIFA is coming, and so let's celebrate the fact that it's coming, and let's use it as an opportunity to lever the Canadian brand and the Vancouver brand, the BC brand, the Ontario brand, because the world will be watching.
Now, on pitching Vancouver as the ideal home for the new Defence, Security and Resilience Bank, Sim argues we're located strategically to interact with Europe and Asia in the same day, on top of what he calls our top-notch financial and technological ecosystem. A clear sky and a train rolling by at the White Rock Pier. There's more sun to come, but also a bit of rain in the forecast. Meteorologist Wesley English has your BC-wide forecast coming up.
I'm Stephen Quinn, and I love living here in Vancouver, BC. It's a city with world-renowned beauty, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. In our new daily podcast, This is Vancouver, we're exploring the diverse range of issues and stories in the city, the good, the bad, and everything in between, as told by the people who live it every day. Don't miss This is Vancouver, available wherever you get your podcasts, and I'll talk to you soon.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and this is your CBC Inbox.
Join me, Stephen Quinn, and the Early Edition team on May 28th at the Minaroo Center for a special live on-location broadcast. Come meet our new local Richmond journalists, Pinky Wong and Stephen Chua. And on May 31st, CBC's Margaret Gallagher hosts the Explore Asian Closing Award Ceremony. Join us to celebrate outstanding Asian community artists. Tickets at exploreasian.ca.
Wesla English, our meteorologist, here with the BC-wide weather forecast. Less of a buffet tomorrow, I'm to understand.
Yes, not as bearable as what we saw today, at least around the south coast. We had showers to start, then things started to clear out a little bit. Saw some nice sunny breaks in the afternoon. And we will see more sun on the way for Wednesday, not just for here on the south coast, but we'll see clearing in parts of the interior as well. Let's get into things. Here's a look at the satellite and radar. We have a low that is centered over Oregon State, and it's driving those clouds still into parts of the BC interior. As that low proceeds to exit, the clearing trend will continue into tomorrow. Here's a look at your precipitation forecast. So by Wednesday, sun for the coastal areas. And then as we head into Thursday, almost all areas will see sun. But the only exception where we will continue to see lingering showers will be the southeastern corner of our province. In fact, seeing some showers and thunder showers in the southeastern corner of our province tonight, and it will kind of last into tomorrow as well. Here's a look at what you could expect for temperatures tonight. Still seeing temperatures bottoming up around 12 degrees in Kamloops, same with Kelowna. As for tomorrow, sun and clouds for almost all of the northern half of BC. The Rockies, however, you could see a slight chance of a shower if you are in areas near Golden. Here's a look at the southern half of BC. Sun for all of Vancouver Island tomorrow. The southwest interior will see clearing. And here's what we can expect over the next 5 days around Metro Vancouver. Morning foggy patches on Wednesday and then sunshine. It will be breezy at times tomorrow. Thursday, also sunny. We will start to see a weather pattern change Thursday night and into Friday and over the next couple of days, Dan, and we will see that temperature range. Inland sections will be a little bit warmer, up into the mid-20s for the inland sections for Wednesday and Thursday. By the water, a few degrees cooler.
All right. Wesla, thanks very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on CBC Vancouver News. You can watch this newscast on CBC Gem, our free app, as well as on YouTube and our website, cbc.ca/BC. Good night.